Okay, so hello everyone. So in this video, you will see what are the different ways you can use to access AWS Cloud. So AWS provides a console. So through your browser, you can log into AWS Cloud, and then you can navigate to different AWS services and then launch an instance or take a database and so on. AWS also provides you with a command line interface. So it's a tool which you can install either in your local machine, or AWS also provides something called as AWS Cloud Shell, in which AWS CLI is pre-installed. So AWS Cloud Shell is like a machine in the cloud, which you get for free. And it has AWS CLI as well as AWS SDK pre-installed, and then you can interact via the AWS Cloud Shell, or you can install it in your local machine. AWS SDK or software development kit is the set of libraries for different programming languages like Python, Java, and so on. So if you want to write a program, a script in Python or Java or whatever, .NET, and interact with AWS in an automated way, you can use the AWS software development kit. And finally, AWS also provides a mobile app which you can install on iOS or Android. So let's have a look at all these different methods. So first, I'm going to show you the AWS console. So AWS console is through the browser, you log into the AWS account, your AWS account, and then you can navigate through this console. So through this console, you can pick and choose any service that you want to use. Say, for example, you can go to compute and go to EC2 if you want to launch a virtual machine instance. You can go to database, and then you can basically go for AWS RDS instance. Okay, so you can choose any of the AWS services. Instead of clicking here, you can also search for the service name over here, and then you can navigate and go to that service, right? So these are the different ways you can navigate through the console. In the console, you also have an option to see any notifications, if there are any notifications, scheduled, planned outages in AWS, etc. You can raise a support case, you can read for documentation and so on. So all this information is available. You can work with your account details. You can look for your billing. You can check how many resources, AWS resources you are consuming. For example, in AWS, there are quotas to every service. Say, for example, how many EC2 instances you can launch, and there's an upper limit. However, you can request AWS to increase this limit if you want to, but you can see how much is the limit, how much you have consumed. And then if you want to increase the limit, you can go to support center and raise a case to increase it. You can navigate through the different regions. So for which region you want to consume, in which region you want to consume the AWS services and so on. So this is the EC2 console. Okay, so this is one method. Second method is the AWS CLI. So CLI is a piece of software that you can download and install in your local machine or any server. So currently the CLI version is 2, latest is the version 2, and it can be installed on Linux, Mac OS, or Windows. And you have the steps in this document of how to download the zip file, unzip it, and then install the AWS CLI. Similarly, you can install the AWS SDK for the choice of your programming language. So I already have installed AWS CLI in my local machine. And usually the first step when you install AWS CLI is to configure it. And the command is AWS space configure. And then you need to provide something called as an access key and a secret key. So these are API credentials. So the way when you log into AWS console, you give your username and password. So instead of that, when you are interacting using a command line interface or an SDK, you need the access key ID and secret key. So these are one-time configuration, and this will be saved. And now this credentials will be used whenever you interact using the AWS CLI or AWS SDK. So the way you can use AWS CLI is using simply the command AWS. And if you want to get help, you can type AWS help, and then you will see different options, and you will see the different services for which you can use different commands. And if you want a service specific help, then you can say AWS, for example, EC2 help, and it will list down all the commands that you can run for EC2. So for example, if I want to check what are the EC2 instances running, I can use the command AWS EC2 describe dash instances. Okay, so by default, my region is configured as Mumbai. If I want to see instances in a different region, then simply on the command itself, I can specify in which region I want to run this command. And you will see the outcome from that particular region. For example, I have chosen US East 1. And now here you can see there are some EC2 instances that are running. So if I go to North Virginia, so you'll see there's one instance running and there's one instance in a terminated state. So that's what the output is over here. Now this is in a JSON format. If you want in a tabular format, you can simply use output, dash output, and then specify table. So instead of JSON format, it will be represented in a tabular format, and then you can see all the details. So this is the AWS CLI. Similarly, you can use AWS SDK, software development kit, with any scripting language like programming language, right? Python or Java. So here I have written a script, Python script, to list EC2 instances. So Boto3 is the AWS SDK for Python. So in Python, I am first importing this library, and then I am initializing the Boto3 client. So first you have to initialize the client and then run the necessary SDK commands. So I'm initializing this for use with EC2 service, and you can optionally also specify for which region you want to run. Okay, so here I am running this command in a loop to check what are the EC2 instances in each of these regions. So I'm having a for loop to go through this. So let me run this script once. And similar to the EC2 CLI, AWS CLI, I'll be getting some output from the SDK. Okay. Similarly, I have another script to actually launch an instance. So it can launch an instance in US West 2, which is Oregon. So if I go to US West 2, so currently there is no running instance. There's just one old instance that I had deleted. So if I run this script now, then it should launch an EC2 instance. So this way, programmatically, without even logging to the AWS console, you can programmatically communicate and operate AWS services. So I have shown this CLI and SDK from my desktop. Like I said, AWS also provides something called as a cloud shell. So let me just return back to my Mumbai region where I had initiated a cloud shell. So you can run cloud shell in any of the regions, and it is for free. It's a virtual machine that AWS will launch, and it will come pre-built with few things. So for example, when you go to AWS console, you will see this icon. This is for cloud shell. So if I click on this, it will open Cloud Shell, and it will also show you what all the Cloud Shell will have. So it already has pre-installed AWS CLI, SDK for Python, Node.js, etc. You get 1 GB of storage, and in this storage, you can save some files as well. So it's a completely free machine. And when you log in, you can simply use the same commands that I showed you through the CLI from my desktop. Okay. Similarly, the Python Boto3 SDK, similarly for other programming languages, the SDKs are pre-installed. So if I launch Python and say import Boto3 and then initialize, let's say Boto3 client for EC2 service, and let's say I specify US West 2 as the region. And now I can maybe I'll store the response, and I can run describe instances method. So this is very similar. So almost all the commands will be similar in terms of their names in CLI and SDK. So it's very easy for you to remember. And then I simply print the response. You will see all the instance details for from which is the output of the describe EC2 instances. So this is the SDK and from the Cloud Shell. And the final method is an app. So I have installed that app on my mobile. Let me show you that. So this is the AWS console app on my mobile. And now from here, I can connect, I can log in. And you'll see I have an option to choose the different regions. I can see the cost management dashboard. I can go to different services. I can choose, let's say, EC2 service. And then in the EC2 services, I can see there are 2 instances of which one is running, one is terminated state. And now if I want, I can do anything from this app itself. Say, for example, I go to this EC2 instance and then I want to stop it, or if I want to terminate it. So from here itself, I can initiate that action. So I have triggered the action to stop. And this way, without even logging to your desktop, laptop, anywhere, you can interact with AWS. So this way, you can interact in various ways with AWS. So you can use the AWS console, the CLI, the SDK, as well as the mobile app. So that's it. Thanks for watching.